What's up, guys? Jacob Ober here. So, a couple of days ago, an article by Bleacher Report was released, written by Tyler Dunn, who I believe is actually a very good writer. And in the article essentially it was about like the period of time between the Packers' first Super Bowl ring and now, or their one under Aaron Rodgers, Mike McCarthy era, I should say, and now, and why they didn't really win multiple rings, why they didn't become a dynasty. It was the title of the article was "What Happened in Green Bay." I mean, there's tons of talent on these teams. Why didn't they win more than just one Super Bowl ring, right? And the article pointed to two or three main reasons, and the two main reasons being Mike McCarthy and Aaron Rodgers, and their egos kind of clashing and creating, a toxic environment. And there's numerous sources in this article, unnamed sources, might I add, that said a lot of really crazy things. I mean, one of them said that Mike McCarthy would skip meetings to get massages in his office. I mean, there was some crazy stuff, and I'll link the article in the description below if you guys want to go read it if you haven't already. But another thing that was brought into question, it was about Aaron Rodgers. It was about who he is, kind of as a teammate, as a person, as a co-worker, essentially. And a lot of people, or a lot of the sources said that he was hard to work with, that he was egocentric, that he was arrogant, and that he alienated players that didn't listen to him over the coaches, especially in the later years. And there's just a lot of really bad things said about Aaron Rodgers and how he operates as a football player, as a part of a team. He's not a leader, etc. He's very selfish and self-centered, things like that. And Greg Jennings and Jermichael Finley were also quoted saying things like that as well. And Ryan Grant was more neutral on the subject. He said some more negative and also some more positive things about him. But something that really struck me, I was reading this article, and then after that, the same day or the day after, a lot of players came out and said, hey, this is not the Aaron Rodgers that we remember, and the list of players to say this, there was John Kuhn who said it, there was Tramon Williams said it, James Jones said it. James Jones actually made a video. He works for NFL Network. He made a video about it. And he said that he actually received numerous texts from former players as well saying, where in the world was I when all of this stuff was happening? That's not the Aaron that we know. And Chris Banjo, Brandon Bostic, Casey Hayward, Devontae Adams all said things like this as well. And keep in mind, these are all players that have played with Rodgers more recently than both Jermichael Finley and Greg Jennings. So, I mean, to me, I really, truly believe the players that have come out and defended Aaron Rodgers. I believe that because they are all very, very willing to come out and stick up for the quarterback. Like, if Aaron Rodgers was truly like that, then why would there be so many players coming out and saying this, going out of their way to defend Aaron Rodgers, If he was actually like this, wouldn't they just stay silent and say, yep, that's probably the truth, and with their silence, But they don't. They're coming out and saying this, and, even current teammates like Devontae Adams. I mean, you'd think Devontae Adams, at least on the team right now, would probably know Aaron Rodgers better than anybody, right? And then Devontae Adams is willing to stick up for Aaron Rodgers and say, hey, this guy's a good guy. He's a great teammate. So to me, I want to believe these guys over a bunch of unnamed sources that, to me, really felt when I was reading the article, it felt like they had a personal vendetta against Aaron Rodgers. It felt like Rodgers did something to them that they didn't like, and so they wanted to drag his name through the mud as much as possible. And now, just to be totally clear, I do think Aaron Rodgers is kind of, to an extent, egocentric, and yes, he can be arrogant, but sometimes that can be a good thing. And I really think that some of these things that were said in this article were exaggerated to try and make Aaron Rodgers look bad. And even to maybe a lesser extent, I do believe more from the McCarthy standpoints, but some of them do kind of seem outlandish too, like the massages thing. I feel like that might be untrue or might be taken out of context or something as well, And I mean, there were some really bad things said about Mike McCarthy. Of anybody, I think it dragged McCarthy's name through the mud more than anybody. But even some of those things, and I don't really like Mike McCarthy, at least towards the end of his tenure in Green Bay, but some of those things, I respect Mike McCarthy a lot, and that just didn't really seem like something that Mike McCarthy would really do, So, but I honestly believe the players that came out and defended Rodgers. I mean, these guys have all played with Rodgers more recently than Finley and Greg Jennings, and I feel like like Devontae Adams especially. You'd feel like he would have a great relationship with Aaron Rodgers at this very point in time. So I'm going to believe the guys who are actually playing with this guy right now, who have played with him more recently, and who are willing to go out of their way to defend Aaron Rodgers. And remember, I mean, past couple of seasons, too, we've seen some late hits on Aaron Rodgers, and we've seen his teammates come to his defense. You think back to 2016 against the Titans, that big scrum after he got hit after scoring the touchdown, and then this year against Atlanta. I mean, and even Jordy Nelson, Jordy Nelson came out and said, it would be hard to say no to Aaron Rodgers if Aaron Rodgers called him up and asked him to come play. So why would someone who thinks Aaron Rodgers is a bad teammate and not a great person to be around find it hard to say no to them if they asked him to come out of retirement? So that's just my thinking, though. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. I'll link the article in the description below, so go check that out if you haven't already. But anyways, guys, so those are my thoughts. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the article. Leave a comment in the comments section below. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Go Packers.